Hi everyone, welcome to Sunya IS. I hope you guys are doing great. So in today's lecture, we will discuss the next part of our Spectrum series. If you remember the modern Indian history which we started, we need to continue it, and today we will discuss about the Simon Commission and the boycott movement, right? Fine. So guys, before I start this, please let me know if it is working fine from your side. I hope I'm audible and visible to you clearly. In case there is any issue, you can comment down. And in case there is any doubt from the last class, you can ask me. Yes. Okay, guys. So, good evening, everyone. Now, we are starting with the lecture of Simon Commission, right? Simon Commission and let me just confirm. Yes, Simon Commission and the Simon boycott movement. So, here, look at the time period. It is 1927 to 29. Do you know why Simon Commission was there? Why 1927? Because it was calculated from 1919. Because if you remember, we had a Government of India Act in 1919. It is also known as Montagu-Chelmsford Reform or Montford Reform. Okay, in which diarchy was introduced, in which we had two subjects, reserved subjects and transferred subjects, where the power of governor was also somehow decided, and it was very much clearly demarcated how and what kind of interference would be and what kind of no confidence motion could be there. So in 1919, with the introduction of diarchy in the Montfort reform, British government decided the political future of India. But they knew that Indians are not happy because Indians didn't get a good participation and representation in the assembly. So Indians also wanted to be politically aware and active. They wanted to be the member in the assembly, in the council. So non-official members were there in the legislative council. But those members had very limited powers. Indians were still not included in a major scale, and that's why Indians were not happy. And government knew that somehow they would be facing a very drastic protest in the near future. But just to calm out the movement for some time, they just decided to have a commission after 10 years to check the all guidelines and dealings with the 1919 Montfort reform. So Simon Commission was to check the Montfort reform, if the reform was working for India or not. Okay, if it was good or bad. If it was bad, then what negative points were there? If something good is there, then what could it be there? And in case British government continues the good points, then what can happen in future? All these points of guidelines were there. It was the work of Simon Commission. Even before 10 years could be completed, Simon Commission was made. It was established. Because if you just calculate from 1919 to 1919 to what? If 1919 we had the Montfort reform, then in 1929 we should had any other Simon Commission, right? But we didn't wait for 2 more years. Before 2 years, we decided to make a commission. Why here? Because there was an election Britain, and due to that election, they just preponed the Simon Commission. Clear? So why Simon Commission was there? Can you tell me in the comment section? I hope you can tell me. Simon Commission was to check the validity of Montfort reform. That's it. It's simple and easy answer. Now, if we talk about the Government of India Act 1919, which is also known as the Montfort reform, Montagu-Chelmsford reform, it was an Indian statutory commission. Simon Commission was an Indian statutory commission which was made as per the provision of the Government of India Act of 1919, because when they made the act in 1919, Britishers, they decided to have a commission after 10 years to see if the reform is applicable to Indian scenario or not. So it was appointed to be after the in the after the end of 10 years, according to the commission, according to the according to the Government of India Act, according to the Montfort reform, it was to be appointed at the end of 10 years after the passing of the act, inquire into the working of Government of India Act. But before 10 years only, in 1927, you can see that they made the Simon Commission, suggest things and start a journey. So, Act of 1919, and they suggested fresh reforms. So, Simon Commission, it was there on 8th November 1927. Why it was appointed before time? Because Tory government of Britain was facing the prospect of electoral defeat at the hands of Labour Party. And Labour Party was very much a pro-Indian party. It was also trying to liberate India somehow later. Nationalist opinion in India, they resented the method of periodic inquiry, because Indians also had their own nationalistic movement, and somehow many opinions and leaders, they never wanted a periodic inquiry. So there was a pressure created by Swaraj Party. If you remember, we discussed Swaraj Party in the last class. And the youth activist led by Nehru and Bose, Subhash Chandra Bose and Jawaharlal Nehru. Because of the pressure from Swaraj Party, Nehru, Bose, and other young leaders, and also because of the various reports showed the insufficiency of 1919 Act, we saw it in the Lee Commission. We saw the failure to recruit enough British officers. We saw Modiman Commission, deadlock between diarchic dispensation, Linglikdaw Commission, crisis of Indian agriculture, and so many things getting failed. Due to all these reasons, they could not wait for even 10 years. So, before 10 years, like before 1929 only, they had to start it. And they started the investigation with Simon Commission. It was just to investigate. But the problem was that no Indian member was included in the commission. If you are making a plan for India and if you want to have a policy for Indians, then you should have some Indians involved in the commission, right? At that time, Indians were saying what? That you are making plan for us, but you are not asking us. It's very much, if, for example, let's say you want to eat something, but the dish is prepared not as per your liking. It may be a dish which you don't really like, which you really hate. Even if you're very angry, you won't be able to have it or eat it. So, if we look at the composition, Lord Birkenhead, the SOS for India, at that time, he only announced the appointment of the commission. All British and all members of the British Parliament, under the chairmanship of Sir John Simon, and he was assisted by Clement Attlee. So, as you can see that Simon was the chairman, that's why it was known as Simon Commission. So, it was a commission, but all white 7 members, only Europeans, only British members, all white, मतलब no Indian, कोई Indian नहीं है इस commission. It was a statutory commission which was set up by the British government under the Stanley Baldwin's Prime Minister on 8th November 1927. Okay, so 8th November 1927, when Stanley Baldwin was PM of Britain, under his ministership, it was appointed. If we look at the mandate, it had the work to Look at the system of government. Inquire into the working of the system of government, growth of education and development of representative institution in British India, and subject of relations between British India and Indian states. Okay, to report whether and to what extent it is desirable to establish the principle of responsible government. Responsible government means self rule, home rule, or Swaraj. Okay, it is very much like dominion status, as Indians were demanding for it. If you look at the members, Clement Attlee, Edward Cadogan, George Lane Fox, Vernon Harrison, Donald Howard, Harry Levy, Dawson, Sir John, Alice Brooks Simon, all these leaders were there. All seven white leaders, seven members, white members only. So you can see how problematic it was. Why it is problematic? It is problematic just because no Indian was there inside the commission, no Indian member was included. So now, when there was no Indian member, Indians started protesting. They had a slogan of Simon go back. They had to face a lot of lathi charge, especially youngsters at this time. They were very, very active. So Indians, they responded in a very negative way. The response was negative from the Indian side. Was negative. Okay? So they started boycotting the Simon Commission. It was endorsed by Congress and the section of Muslim League. Not the entire section, not the entire Muslim League, but a section of Muslim League. They wanted to boycott the Simon Commission. Okay? And Liberal Federation led by Tej Bahadur Sapru, Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress, and Hindu Mahasabha. All these organizations, leaders, they all were there to boycott Simon Commission. Clear? Here, Congress session in Madras, it was there in 1927. It was under M.A. Ansari, boycotted the commission. Even Bhagat Singh opposed the commission. Muslim League led by Muhammad Shafi, Justice Party in Madras, Central Sikh Sangh, Unionists in Punjab, All India Achut Federation did not oppose the commission. So remember this, there was a question in prelims that who opposed the commission and who did not oppose the commission. So remember that only few sections of Muslim, few leaders, they were they were opposing, they were against the Simon Commission, they were protesting against the Simon Commission. But still, we had few leaders and organizations supporting the Simon Commission, or you can say not going against or not talking against the Simon Commission. So, Muslim League led by Muhammad Shafi, Party in Madras, Central Sikh Sangh, Unionists in Punjab, and All India Achut Federation did not oppose to the commission. Remember this. It's a very important line for prelims because they don't ask you what was there, what happened, who responded, who did not respond. They majorly ask you that who support the opposition or who did not oppose. Clear? Sunil, yes, good evening. Namaskar. You're asking about the note. I think you'll be getting all the notes, the telegram. So please ask the team to upload it in the telegram. You can always comment down, and I'll also ask, my team upload entire PDF for you, and it would be there on Telegram. Download and read. Okay, don't worry. Clear? So now you have understood that who opposed and who not opposed. Clear? Autonomy, Dayaki at center, he submitted memorandum of rights on behalf of the Bahishkrit Hitkarni Sabha. Very, very important. Bahishkrit Hitkarni Sabha. बहिष्कृत, जो लोग बहिष्कृत हैं, जो लोगों को बहिष्कार किया जाता है सोसाइटी में, एसटी, एससी, ओबीसी, बैकवर्ड क्लासेस, तो वो कास्ट जिन्हें बहिष्कार मिला है समाज से, बहिष्कृत, का हित करना है, हित करनी, बहिष्कृत हित करनी सभा के अच्छे के लिए जो सभा बनाई गई है. सो इट वाज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस बहिष्कृत हितकरणी सभा. समटाइम्स जस्ट बाय डिकोडिंग द वर्ड, just by doing a Hindi ka sandhi vichhed, will be able to answer questions very nice. Because it's always logical, it's always about a common sense, right? So just try to read it like this. Whenever you get stuck somewhere, and if you feel like not understanding the sentence, try to decode it. Okay? Thank you so much, Vignesh. Uh, Great. Video is getting stuck. Okay, let me just check. I don't think so because things are going fine from my side. Can you guys just tell me if I'm live and if I can continue? Yes. If it is working fine, please write yes. If I am audible, please write yes in the comments. If not, please write no, not audible, not visible. It's okay now? Okay, that's great. So I was just saying that you can see here that Ambedkar was working with the commission but not inside the commission. Here? Okay, great. Thank you so much for confirming, guys. I have understood that there is no technical issue right now. We can continue. So, if we talk about the Simon boycott movement, many of the Indians and organizations, nationalist organizations, they started boycotting the Simon Commission. So, how they started this? They started the demonstration of black flag. जहां भी वो जाते थे उन्हें काला झंडा दिखाया जाता था. A black flag. So black flag demonstrations were there. Hartals and slogan of Simon go back was there. And T. Prakasham bravely rose in protest in Andhra Pradesh. Emergence of a group such as Punjab Naujawan Bharat Sabha, Workers and Peasants Parties and Hindustan Seva Dal in Karnataka, they came here. They emerged, boycott the Simon Commission. In 1927, Jawaharlal Nehru, represented by the INC, okay, he was representing the Indian National Congress at Brussels Congress, organized by League Against Imperialism. And Lala Lajpat Rai, very, very important here. He was, facing the lathi charge, protesting. So, he was fatally hit during a lathi charge while leading an anti-Simon agitation, and due to this only, we will lose him very soon. Due to this lathi charge only, somehow he got very unwell and he died later. Bhagat Singh vowed to avenge his death and decided to kill James Scott. And the police officer who was there, who ordered the lathi charge at that time when Lala Lajpat Rai was there. So Bhagat Singh was there to kill James Scott, and that's why you will see later Bhagat Singh was hanged. The commission visited twice and boycotted each time. So sometimes students don't realize a small fact here in the prelims, you may miss it. They may ask you that the Simon Commission was there and it was boycotted, but how many times it came? How many times it visited? Once, twice, thrice, none of the above. You would be choosing twice the option, prelims option. Remember That Simon Commission visited twice and it was boycotted every time. If we talk about the impact, it gave a stimulus radical forces for complete independence and socio-economic changes in India. A new phase of revolutionary activities got started. The second phase of revolutionary activities, you can say. Okay, second phase of revolutionary activities got started. Okay, what happened? Indians now understood that we should not wait for another Government of India Act again. Should not wait for Britishers to pass a new law again. Indeed, we can make a suggestion. We can make a file where we will be having our own suggestive points, get things done. We can ourselves make a report. If Simon Commission is submitting a report, we can also make a report. So let's make a Indian report in which Indian constitutional demands would be there. That's why a Nehru report was made. So Nehru report, it was the result of challenge of Lord Birkenhead, because Lord Birkenhead, he said that you guys, you Indians, even if you get 300 years, you are so illiterate and uneducated and unaware masses that you won't be able to make your own constitution even if we provide you 300 years. It was said by Britishers. It was a challenge of Lord Birkenhead. But Nehru ji made the report and he, decided to make the constitution later. And later the Indian constitution was made within 3 years, not 300 years. If you talk about the report of Simon Commission, 7 June 1930, it submitted the report. So look at the time, 1927 it was created. In 1930, it submitted the report. Okay. So first of all, they wanted to keep the separate electorate as it is, as per the Montfort reform. They wanted the reservation of seats for depressed classes also. So they were enhancing and enlarging the divide and rule policy by creating a separatism or separatist tendency in India. They wanted to give a kind of a communal award to the depressed classes. They were trying to somehow make a demarcation in the Indian society. Abolition of diarchy in provinces happened. They established representative governments in provinces with autonomy, extension of franchisee and expansion of legislatures, separation of Burma from British India. And if you talk about governor, discretionary power in internal security and protecting different communities. Okay, so all these points were there, all these were the reports of Simon Commission. So here you can see one point, separation of Burma with British India, okay, which is a different point, which is somehow unique about this Simon Commission, and it gave discretionary power to the governor in internal security and protecting different communities of India. Now, if we look at this entire scenario, it rejected the parliamentary responsibility at center. Means somehow the no confidence motion would never be passed here. Governor General to have complete power to appoint cabinet members or cabinet ministers. Like today, you see that governor, on the advice of governor, only the on the advice of chief minister, governor can appoint. So here also, Governor General, they had complete power. Government of India to have complete control over high courts. Federalism was accepted, but not immediately. It suggested a consultative council of Great India where the council was made would be made in near future, but not immediately. Northwestern Frontier Province. If you look at the map of India, this is Northwestern Frontier Province. Okay, so in the northwest side of India and Balochistan, it should have own legislature and right to be represented at center. Sindh should be separated from Bombay. Burma should be separated from India, not natural part of India. Indianize the army. More Indian soldiers would be included in the army. So the report contained no mention of dominion status, which shows that there was no talk of Swaraj, no discussion on this self rule, no discussion of giving a partial independence to India. It was not considering that India wants a complete independence now. So Indians decided to start their own way of protesting and declaring a complete independence, and Congress did it in the 1929 session. There was one more thing which is known as the Delhi Proposal. It was in December 1927. The aim was to bridge the gulf between Congress and Muslim League. They wanted Congress and Muslim League leaders to come together and present a common demand before Britishers so that Britishers could understand the demand of independence and can work on it. So Muhammad Ali Jinnah presided over the session and agreed to forego separate electorates. Sindh should be separated from Bombay Presidency as a separate province, it was said. Muslim representation in central legislature should be either one third of total or more than that. Representation in Punjab and Bengal should be made on the basis of population to ensure Muslim majority in legislature. In Madras Congress session of 1927, the Congress passed a resolution accepting most of the demands of Delhi proposals. Muslim League, there was a split over issue of separate annual session of League held at Lahore under the presidency of Sir Mia Muhammad Shafi. Sir Mia Muhammad Shafi. So Muslim League, they themselves, they were fighting. They had a split over the issue of separate annual session of League, and it was held at Lahore under the presidentship of Sir Mia Mohammed Shafi. Remember this. Okay. So here you can see that Congress and Muslim League leaders somehow wanted to come together and they had a session. They wanted to, forego the separate electorate. They agreed that no separate electorate would be there, and instead of separate electorate, reservation could be there, and Sindh should be separated from Bombay Presidency as a separate province. So remember, this point is important for prelims. Muslim representation in central legislature should be one third of total or more than that. So you can see all the provisions where reservation is given more value than the separate electorate, right? They wanted to give more representation in Punjab and Bengal. So somehow, the Muslim population, the Muslim demands were accepted by Congress. Somehow, Congress wanted Muslim League to accept the proposal of coming together and working together. And that was known as the Delhi proposal. Now, Nehru report was made in 1928 as answering the Birkenhead's challenge. An all party conference met in February 1928 and they appointed a subcommittee under the chairmanship of Professor Motilal Nehru, who is the father of Jawaharlal Nehru. Okay, Motilal Nehru, he drafted a small, constitutional provision, and it is now a part of preamble of India. Major portions, are somehow taken in the preamble. So it included Tej Bahadur Shapru, Subhash Chandra Bose, M.S. Ane, Mangal Singh, Ali Imam, Shob Qureshi, G.R. Pradhan, all these leaders were there. If we talk about the Nehru report, confined itself to British India and princes to be in a federal relationship. So Nehru report was there and it confined itself to British India only. They were not talking about the princes. They were not talking about the princely state, because princely states to be in a federal relationship, and somehow they only discuss the British India. Now, if you don't know the difference between British India and princely states, just understand. Let's say we had Hyderabad here. So Hyderabad was a princely state. Why we face problem after the independence of India, in including Hyderabad inside the India. We had some problem in Manipur also. We had problem in Jammu Kashmir also. Why? Because these all were the princely states. They were given a choice, either join India or go to Pakistan. Some of the princely states, they decided to remain independent. And here also, when the Nehru report was made, they did not discuss anything about the Prince states. They only wanted to talk about the British India. If we talk about the main recommendations of Nehru report, again these recommendations are important for you, important for prelims. Need to learn all these provisions. Okay, very important. So dominion status was there. It was a recommendation that we should get self-governing body. Now look at this. If you see the time period of Nehru report, it is 1928. If you look at the goal of complete independence declared by the Congress, it was in 1929. But Nehru report was given by Motilal Nehru, not Jawaharlal Nehru. But 1929 Congress session was with Purna Swaraj. It was with Jawaharlal Nehru. And Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, and other leaders, they opposed the Nehru report. They were not liking the Nehru report. Why? Why son is not liking the father's proposal? Can you tell me? You see any problem here? Who can tell me? Why Congress, so many other young leaders, they did not like the proposal of Nehru report? Why? You'll get the answer in this slide. Tell me. Let me have some water and then I'll come to you. Uh, I'll come to your answers. But meanwhile, I can read a question here that Ramsay MacDonald announced communal award. Yes, Viresh, we will discuss that. See, we are right now at 1929. Okay, after 1929, the 1932 time will come. Okay. Siri Surya, you have asked that when did you start economy, art and culture, science, technology classes? Okay. Uh, these classes are going to be there very soon. But let me know if you're asking it for YouTube or is it about any other paid batch? Are you discussing any other thing with me? Tell me that. All of you guys, please understand here a small point that there is a question you need to answer. Tell me why many of the young leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose did not like the Nehru report. They were against the Nehru submitted by Motilal Nehru. Why? Who will tell me? Yes, Vignesh, you are right, because dominion status was there, and at that time, dominion status was outdated. Why? Because they had already discussing about the were already discussing about the what? Complete independence as the goal of Congress, right? That's why. Yes, Vignesh, you are right. There only I discussed that what happened, what was happening at that time. Basically, after this complete independence goal declared by the Congress in 1929, you will see that Britishers will give us dominion status again and again. With so many acts, so many proposals, there would be different commissions coming in India. You will see it after 1930. But every time Britishers would only agree to give us dominion status. Okay. But then it was too late for Indians to accept dominion status because Indians were not asking for dominion status anymore. They started asking for the independence because they saw that somehow the idea of getting dominion status is now very much feasible and easy to get from Britishers. They realized it that Britishers will be giving us dominion status very soon. But before they could propose the dominion status, we started demanding complete independence. That now it is of no use for us. Okay? Because the pain is increased. They wanted to reject the separate electorate, rather, they wanted reservations in India. In Nehru report, linguistic provinces were there, the states divided on the basis of language. 19 fundamental rights were there: equal rights of women, right to form unions, and universal adult suffrage, provincial council to have 5 years of tenure, headed by a governor acting as the advice of provincial executive council. So here you can see full protection to culture and religious interests of Muslims is given. Complete disassociation of state from religion, it means secularism. Responsible government at center and provinces. Bicameral parliament, legislative powers should invest with king, and bicameral parliament. Executive powers with king, exercisable by governor general. Communal representation was to be reconsidered after 10 years, and Baluchistan was to be given full provincial status. Hierarchy of courts with Supreme Court at its apex should be established. So, all these pointers were there, all these recommendations were there in the Nehru report. Now, you see that many of the points are still there in the Constitution of India today. If we talk about the status of princely states in 1927, the subjects of princely states formed States People's Conference to introduce self-governing institutions, and Butler Committee laid a stress on preservation of princely states through British paramountcy. So somehow Britishers understood that British Indian provinces were already protesting and could not come under the British control for future, and that's why they had an intention to somehow keep these princes in their hand, and they wanted to make them puppet. So puppet nawabs, puppet princes. If you remember the story of Mir Jafar, they wanted to repeat the history again. Hindu Mahasabha demands were also there. They opposed the idea of Muslim majority provinces. They opposed reservation in Punjab and Bengal. They demanded strictly unitary structure. If we talk about compromises, Muslim League disassociated itself from and stuck to its demands. The concessions to Hindu Mahasabha included few things. First, joint electorates everywhere, but reservation only where Muslims are in minority. Sindh to be detached from Bombay only after Bombay and only after dominion status was granted and subject to weightage given to Hindu minority in Sindh. If we talk about the political structure, it proposed broadly unitary. structure as residual powers with center. In December 1928, Jinnah proposed three amendments: one-third representation to Muslims in central legislature, reservation to Muslims in Bengal and Punjab legislatures proportionate to population till universal adult suffrage was established, residual powers to provinces. So all these points were there. Okay. So in December 1928, Jinnah proposed these three amendments, and all these three amendments were very, very important. One-third representation to Muslims and reservation to Bengal and Punjab also, Central Legislative Assembly also, and residual powers to provinces. So you can see a compromise was there. Now what happened that Jinnah, he gave a proposal. He had 14 points according to which he wanted Congress to come and function with them. But Congress could not understand these 14 points of Jinnah, and the proposal somehow, the alignment of Muslim League and Congress, it was something which could not happen in future due to these strict 14 points of Jinnah. Because Jinnah somehow wanted to create many separatist groups in India within the Indian states and regions. It was not acceptable by the Congress, and it was not easy to be implemented. If you will read these points, you'll realize that it's creating many small Pakistans in each and every corner of India. So let's talk about it. First point: Federal Constitution with residual powers to provinces, provincial autonomy, states will be having their own autonomy, non-constitutional amendment by center without concurrence of states, all legislature and elected bodies to have adequate representation of Muslims in every province without reducing a majority of Muslims in a majority in a province to a minority or equally. To a minority or equally. Just note this. These three words are getting repeated here in the PPT. Just ignore it. Adequate representation to Muslims in services and self-governing bodies, one-third Muslim representation in Central Assembly, in any cabinets at center or provinces, one-third to be the Muslims only, separate electorates for Muslim, no bill resolution passed of three-fourth minority against it, if the Muslims would say, any territorial redistribution not to affect Muslim majority in Punjab, Bengal and northwestern frontier province. So somehow they were only focusing on Muslims. You can always say that Congress was not a Hindu party. Congress was an Indian party. It was a party in which all the Indian sections were represented somehow. Even many of the Muslims also supported Congress. But Muslim League was a clear Muslim party. It was not a party for the entire India. It was a party only and only for Muslims, that too having a separatist tendency. It was not for them wanted to live with harmony. It was a party for them wanted to create a warlike situation and get their things done. With all these provisions, it was very clear, and it became clear in front of the Congress. It became clear in the eyes of the Indians that why Muslim League is always about a separatist group. They also wanted separation of Sindh from Bombay, constitutional reforms in northwestern frontier province and Balochistan happened, full religious freedom to all the communities was given, and protect of Muslim right in religion, culture, education, language, and all these things. Nehru and Bose, they opposed the idea of dominion and they set up Independence for India League. Here at Calcutta, Calcutta Congress session, it happened in December 1928. It was presided by Motilal Nehru. In case the government did not accept the Nehru report by 31st December 1929, the Congress would declare complete independence as its goal. And it happened. Because government did not accept the Nehru report. Government was not trying to understand it, because if government could have accepted the Nehru report at that time, only the dominion status could be achieved. But it was a good thing for India. कई बार आपने सुना होगा कि जो होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है, दुर्घटना से देर भली. Like it is always good. Whatever happens, it is always for good. Have faith that God and the universe is really working for you and nothing bad will happen. It is always for the good. So here also it was for the good only. It was a good thing. It was a very good thing that in the Nehru report, you see that dominion status was demanded, which was not accepted by the government, and we got a reason to start a goal of complete independence for India. Congress Working Committee, they formed a foreign cloth boycott committee to carry out an aggressive program. It was a very aggressive program this time of boycott of foreign clothes and its public burning. Somehow, these public burnings, they burned the heart of Britishers, and Indians realized that they are doing great with this tendency of having a aggressive force for independence. Now, at this point of time, you will see in the Congress, Subhash Chandra Bose became a very big leader. Subhash Chandra Bose was in a serious competition with Nehruji, Jawaharlal Nehru, but they both were friends. The problem was that Gandhiji used to give a backing to Jawaharlal Nehru, but not to Subhash Chandra Bose, because Subhash Chandra Bose had a very aggressive attitude and he was very strict with his feelings and things of violence, army, making a war against Britain, and he was very sincere about these things. As he was a blunt and a straightforward leader, Gandhiji could not manage things with him. They had ideological disputes, and ultimately Subhash Chandra Bose resigned from the Congress. So we will see that story. We are coming to it very soon. But look at the date. Now you are at the time of 1929. Now, Delhi Manifesto came on 2nd November 1929. It demanded that the purpose of Round Table Conference should not be to discuss when dominion status would be granted. Basically, Britishers were deciding for a round table conference, and they had three round table conferences. All the round table conferences failed because in the first round table conference, Congress did not go, Congress did not attend the meeting. Gandhiji was also not there in the first round table conference, so it was for no use. In the second round table conference, Gandhiji went there, but nothing was achieved, and by that time, Bhagat Singh was also hanged, so Indians were against the Britishers. The third round table conference, again, nothing was achieved. Ultimately, Britishers decided to give independence to India. Okay, so we will come to it, but you see, there was a Delhi Manifesto. Lahore Congress session happened in 31st December 1929 with Jawaharlal Nehru, where Purna Swaraj, complete independence, was declared as a goal for India. And they announced a civil disobedience movement on 31st December 1929. Okay, 31st December 1929 means you can say New Year of 1930. Okay, so from 1930, Indians started a very strict civil disobedience movement against Britishers to get independence. It was on the banks of River Ravi, Jawaharlal Nehru hoisted the newly adopted tricolor, the Indian flag. Independence pledge was taken on 26th January 1930, and that's why even this date is still a very important date for us. It's a national holiday, right? So Congress decided to celebrate the day of first Independence Day or the Purna Swaraj Day and took independence pledge there drafted by Gandhiji, and they decided to be free and get rid of the British rule anyhow. And that's why we still celebrate the Independence Day on 26th January every year in India. Even when the constitution was already prepared after independence, we waited for the date of 26th January to implement the constitution. We waited because there was a significance of this date in the Indian history. So 26th January 1930. Now you know that why we celebrate the Independence Day on 26th of January 1930, even when the constitution was completely made and it was already there by the time of November 19, I think it was in 1949 or 1950s, it was completely there. But we decided to keep the date of 26th January because it was the day of a celebration already there in India. We have completed a topic. Now, the next topic is civil disobedience movement and roundtable conferences. So, this topic is going to be discussed tomorrow because it's a very long topic, and we will discuss the clash of Gandhiji and Bhagat Singh. Somehow, many of the students they feel like Gandhiji and Bhagat Singh, they both were not together, and Gandhiji could not save Bhagat Singh. Somehow, Gandhiji is the reason behind the hanging, and these misconceptions are there because historical truths are not completely in front of you, or and it is just because you see yeah, and when you read so many comments and all, you get this misunderstanding in your mind. But we will clear it tomorrow. So I'll just end the session here, guys. In case you have any doubts, in case you need to ask something, you can always comment there. And if you are facing any other issue, any other problem in your question, please let me help you. You can always use the comment section and tell me if you have anything to discuss. Dipanshi, you are saying, ma'am, your voice is breaking in between. Okay, let me check. I'll check it. Okay, Siri Surya, you are asking about the YouTube batches for other subjects. So we are planning to start it very soon. We have made a plan, and it's for all the students preparing for 24 and 25. So just have some patience. Let me convey this message to the team. But it would be great if you can write this in the comment section, because me and my team, we personally read each and every message and comments. And we also consider it very seriously when you comment something. So all of you, if you have any demands to start a course on any of the subject, or if you have anything to be there on the YouTube, if you want there any kind of course or thing, just comment, but don't comment on the live section, because see, the live chat is only there when it is live. But after the video is uploaded, once I end the live session, after the video is uploaded, if there you can write it in the comments, it would be great for us. There you write things, it would be always there in front of that video, and we will be able to read it and implement the things accordingly. So help us taking the decision by commenting and giving your genuine feedback in the comment section and not the live chat. Clear? Okay, okay, done. So fine, I'll provide the notes on Telegram. I'll end the session here, guys. I hope it was a great session for you. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. See you then. Take care. Bye bye.